Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Cabinet meeting on Wednesday, the 9th of July, 2025. We'll move straight on to the agenda items. Agenda item 1, which is apologies. Apologies from Councillor Jason Hughes and Councillor James Clark. There's also an apology from the Chief Executive, who's doing a peer panel assessment of Cardiff. That's a posh way of saying she's just assessing how Cardiff operate, how the local government family assess each other across Wales. So we're all taking the turn, so she's doing that vital job over there. Any other apologies at this point? Okay, brilliant. We'll move on to item 2, declarations of interest. Any declarations of interest? Councillor Dan.
Yeah, just that I live in the Kilburn area. I know the region master plan Kilburn is noted off item, I want to say 10. No, sorry. Yeah, item 10.
I don't think particularly affects you to any greater extent than any other member, but we can record it as a declaration if you'd like us to.
Just on the record.
Yeah, we can note that.
Brilliant, thank you. As usual, if you realise you needed to declare interest during the course of the meeting, declare it there and then we can get Mike to make a decision on it. Moving on to agenda item 3, minutes from the June Cabinet. There is an amendment we need to make, and I'll hand over to the Chief Legal Officer to explain.
Yeah, so it doesn't relate to the minutes as such, but if I can just share. So what this relates to is item 11 on the agenda for the last Cabinet meeting, which is the Communities for Learning rolling programme. The bit that was not highlighted is the resolution which was passed by the Cabinet in the last meeting. The bit that's highlighted has been added to the published decision at the request of the Head of Finance. Given that was added on after Cabinet voted on it, it would be sensible to get the Cabinet's approval to that now. So I'd suggest if the Chair could ask for a proposer and a seconder.
I'm happy to propose. I can support that proposal.
Seconder. Councillor Dan.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
Pass that approved.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Any other comments on the minutes of the previous Cabinet? Brilliant. And Councillor Laura Lacey, seconder. And not to look left. Moving on to agenda item 4, capital programme monitoring conditions action. I'd just like to announce some investments into the city and into our services at this Cabinet meeting, which are vital for the city as it continues to grow at exponential rates. Firstly, I would like to announce 150k finance into culture and events. The city has done an amazing job in having major cultural events and events per se in the city centre in particular, but across the city. And this requires a huge amount of man and woman power to organise, set up, and ensure goes swimmingly for those who attend and for the city to continue to prosper in these events, which we've done amazingly well on so far. That requires investment, so I'm happy to support that investment to support those officers to increase and that programme. I'm also pleased to announce 100k for youth services. Youth service over the last 14 years of austerity, yes, I'm going there, have been decimated. And if you want to understand the importance of youth service, you just need to go and visit them and see what they do, and frontline work with children and young adults who need support and maybe guidance, which they may not be receiving elsewhere. And so it's a vital service as far as I'm concerned for those children, and also to make Newport a better place to live for all. So I'm going to announce 100k for our youth services. So it'll be held in a reserve. Youth service to come forward with plans and initiatives to expand its role across the city to help more young people. I'm really pleased to announce a £250,000 investment in the road safety initiatives across the city. There's been many high-profile incidents. I'm sure every local member of any political party or no political party have had residents contact them regarding speeding in their locality, and for reasons I won't bore the public or anyone in this present room, the bureaucracy of how you normally get funding for road safety initiatives is becoming too onerous, and particularly at this time. So I'm going to announce a £250,000 reserve for our infrastructure team to have access to invest in those road safety measures where the evidence dictates, and shows residents that we can support them in making our roads safe for them, their children, and everyone else. As many people will know, this council is going on a major program of transformation and streamlining its services, making it fitter for the 21st century. That requires a lot of investment in changing systems, particularly IT systems. So I'll be adding £500,000 to our transformation fund as well, to support those ongoing initiatives and support officers in that incredible work they do to make our services better and fitter for the 21st century. And I'll be announcing another £500,000 to go to our general reserve, which is the reserve for the final backstop for any financial crises of this council. We're currently holding 1.6% of our spend, our yearly spend. We need to start bumping that up to be more prudent and be cautious with upcoming financial years. So we will bump that from 6.5 million to 7 million. I will hold the right to increase that as long as the finances improve over the coming year, and next year looks okay, as we may want to ensure that this council is always on a stable financial footing. Cameron, do you want to talk about any of those announcements? Councillor Davis.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Linda. First of all, I'm incredibly grateful for the 100,000 that's actually going to the youth service. Youth services is about prevention. It's about making a difference in children's lives and getting the right track to give them access to aspiration, opportunity. And so many of our children, we've got this huge risk of them getting left behind. To actually invest in our children across the whole of Newport will absolutely make a difference. Children are subjected to a huge amount of risk in today's society, and what this money would do is actually reduce that risk. We can invest in training support, we can invest in additional youth and play officers to ensure that the provisions there. We are looking at the moment currently investing in a flying team that actually goes in when there's specific issues, and it will enable to invest further than that to actually where there's trouble spots and actually help to resolve the specific problems in the community. So it's going to go a long way to make a huge difference. In addition, I truly welcome the 500,000 that you announced with us for a station notice. 250,000.
Good try. Good try.
250, because that will make a difference in our communities. We've all seen incidents where our residents feel unsafe on our local roads, and this will make a huge impact.
So how's
Yeah, just wanted to echo what Councillor Davis just said. As regards 250,000 investment in road safety initiatives, just want to express my gratitude as well. And also gratitude to Welsh Government, because obviously they do make those grants available, and we have benefited from them, including this year. But in terms of sometimes there can be hurdles and criteria where roads that we would like to see things done don't quite fit the bill. So I think this investment is just going to give us a bit more flexibility and nimbleness, just to think around those problems and think about what other roads that might not otherwise have got Welsh Government funding can benefit. And, as Deb said, I think it's an issue that's close to a lot of residents' hearts, especially when roads have that unsafe feel to them. And it just gives us that slightly wider ability to look at that. So thank you very much.
Councillor Corton.
Thanks, Leader. I just want to support this. The £150,000 extra for culture and events will be brilliant. As many people don't know, all of our events, including our civic events like Remembrance Day, as well as the Music Trail Food Festival, you name them, all of those council events are put on by less than a handful of people who work incredibly hard. So this extra money for resource is invaluable, especially as we know what a great driver our events are for footfall in the city. So this is really great news. And I also wanted to say about the road safety money as well. As Councillor Lacey will agree, in our ward, we hear from residents quite often, so this will be welcome news. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Spencer.
Just to touch on the road safety, echo what Councillor Davis said is, of late we've had a few problems in our ward, and it is great to hear that we are putting money in there to look after the safety of our residents, not just in our ward, but all through Newport.
Anyone else? Councillor Paulson.
Thank you. I think we all welcome all of this spending, all of this investment is really worthwhile. But I'd also like to comment on the road safety and how important this is, and how, you know, please don't have to see money going into that, because I think we're all aware of places that could benefit from some improvement. So thank you very much.
Okay, back to the exciting point of capital programme monitoring additions. The first report is the capital programme. The final report of the year on capital activity provides an overview of the final amount of capital expenditure incurred in the year compared with the allocated budget. The report outlines the level of slippage and underspending incurred and provides an update on the level of available capital headroom. Furthermore, the report details the additions to the programme that have been identified and seeks our approval for these additions. The first section outlines the movement in the capital budget since the last Cabinet Monitoring report, which was presented to Cabinet in January. The net value of additions amongst the current capital programme since then is 4.9 million. The breakdown of these is given in Appendix A. We are required to approve these additions and amendments. As a result of these additions, as of March 25, the final budget for 24-25 was £96.5 million. Final costs for 24-25 were £72 million, including a £23 million net variance. Of this variance, service managers and budget holders have confirmed that £22 million relates to delayed progress with schemes, otherwise known as slippage. There is further review of the 25-26 capital programme is required to ensure that it reflects a realistic profile. Currently, the budget stands at £86.1 million and will be a challenge to deliver. It is therefore necessary to reprofile this across the remainder of the programme to increase the chances of delivering against the budget and minimise the level of slippage reported in future years. In relation to the capital headroom, the report also details the level of capital headroom currently available, which can be used to support new schemes and emerging priority. This now stands at £14.3 million, having increased by £1.5 million as a result of capital received and additional grants which remain uncommitted. There is also a request to use 50k of the headroom for the cemetery lodge demolition, which is required to prove this. Whilst the level of headroom may currently appear reasonable, there remains a need to tightly control its use so that the council is able to respond to critical issues as and when they emerge. This will require clear prioritisation of only the most pressing and urgent issues. In addition, any opportunity to further increase the headroom will need to be taken so it is possible to support as many priorities as possible and ensure that sufficient funding exists to respond to any issues as they arise. Turning to our prudential indicators, the report confirms that council has complied with its prudential indicators with the exception of two. These are the first, designed to show the proportion of financing costs to the net revenue stream. This is due to increase in financing costs, which has arisen from a change in accounting for leases and does not represent an additional cost to authority. The second is called interest rate risk indicator. This indicator measures the potential impact of changes in interest rates on the revenue budget if maturing loans require. It is an estimation, not a limit, of what resources would be required to cover the interest rates. Therefore, it should be viewed as a soft target rather than a hard limit. It also be noted at the end of the financial year, the authority borrowing was 168.4 million, which is above the council's operational boundary. However, since the operational boundary is a management tool for in-year monitoring, is not significant if the operational boundary is breached on occasion due to variances in cash flow, and this is not accounted for as a compliance failure. We are asked to approve the additions and amendments as detailed in the report, totaling £4.9 million. We're also asked to note the level of capital headroom currently available and approve the use of headroom as noted in the report. We are also required to note the authority's compliance with the prudential indicators which are included within the report. Any comments or queries from council? Okay, can I have approval in a second, please? Councillor Davis, Councillor Lacey. Moving on to agenda item 5 with Councillor Hughes giving his apologies. Can I ask Councillor Dan to give the report?
Thank you, Peter. Good afternoon. Happy to share this report with colleagues today. Following the implementation of the Council's Welsh language standard in March 2016, Council has had a statutory duty to produce an annual monitoring report in compliance with the Welsh language standards for the Welsh language World Measure 2011. The annual report represents the Council's 9th year of implementing the Welsh language standards and in compliance with the statutory requirement to provide an overview of the Council's progress in meeting the standards during the financial year ending March 2025. The report includes key performance information required by the Welsh Language Commissioner to be published annually. It highlights significant achievements during the year and identifies priority areas for future work. The draft report was published online by the deadline date of 30th of June 2025 to meet statutory requirements and will be updated immediately once agreed by full council. Key highlights in the year include Gymraeg initiative class have continued successfully and the council was awarded Employer of the Year at the Welsh for Adults when awards for the scheme. One of our employees also received the Welsh Learner of the Year award, which is really impressive. Promotional activities, we partnered with local communities across Newport to promote the Welsh language through various activities, including St David's Day and celebrating Welsh culture and being Welsh in Newport. Welsh in education, we had a positive testing inspection, noting that Newport has an ambitious vision for expanding Welsh medium education, clearly articulated in our Welsh in education strategic plan. Those pupils are making strong progress and officers are actively engaging families to support this growth. The report also identifies priorities for the next reporting period, including working with other local authorities across the Gwent region to build momentum in preparation for welcoming the Early Stepford to Newport in 2027. Promoting the Welsh language across the Newport communities, increasing its visibility and developing our Welsh medium education provision. Building on the successful relocation of Esgol, Gymraeg, and Gwrth-Dlodi, the Gwrth-Dlodi area, which I represent, and really pleased with that. One of the most diverse and multicultural areas in the city, as you all probably aware of. And I'd like to also applaud Councillor John Harris's work, his brilliant work in championing the Welsh language, the elected member, and the Welsh language champion responsible, who represents the Rhaglenni. He's been absolutely instrumental in highlighting the importance of the Welsh language across the city, whilst actively promoting its use within the council. Ask the Cabinet considers the report and recommends it to full council. Thank you.
Councillor, any comments, please? Councillor Davis.
Thank you very much. I very much welcome Councillor Dan's comments in regards to the successful move of Esgol and Gwrth-Dlodi to Hill. And I know it's thriving there and children are absolutely attending well. It's absolutely appropriate that we now have a model in that area. And also, importantly, it's important that our first Welsh medium NRB as well. It makes a huge difference. I very much welcome this year's review of delivery and support for the Welsh language in Newport. In education, we continue to ensure that Welsh medium provision is embedded and delivered to a good standard, and strong progress is being made by our children who attend Welsh medium schools. It's a positive to note the recent ESTID report, which recognised our ambition to expand and enhance Welsh medium provision across our city. One of the highlights of the year was the launch of the immersive programme video, which is now linked to our school's admission programme on the website. It's well worthwhile visiting that link and viewing the video, which clearly explains our Newport offer and highlights the programme's accessibility and the support that's ready and offered for those children who decide that they want to switch to a Welsh medium primary school midway through their educational career. Essen had previously praised this programme, and this truly endorses what we have to offer in Newport. Anecdotally, I'm also being told that those families who are choosing to settle in Newport and then moving up to Bristol actually opting for Welsh medium provision as their first choice of education. And that's a huge positive for Newport and for Wales as well. It's great that people really feel they want to immerse themselves in Wales and the Welsh culture. A massive positive in the great class.
Any other comments? Just thank the team as well. They know who they are for an amazing job around this. It's culturally, it'll be a long journey, Welsh language in Newport, but we're committed to that journey. As I've always said, we're proud to be a Welsh city, proud of our Welsh ancestry and culture, and we all look forward to the Earth bicentennial coming to the city, and that would be a great day for all of us. Okay, thank you all. We'll move on. We've got here approval in a second. I got there, yes. How is it?
Yeah,
Move on to agenda item 6, Safe and Newport annual report. Again, it's Councillor Dan, while Councillor Jason is away.
Thank you. I'm pleased to present the Safer Newport Annual Report 2024-25, which is the first annual report detailing the progress made by the Community Safety Partnership against the Safer Newport Community Safety Strategy, plan adopted by this Cabinet and Council last summer. The report highlights the partnership's achievements, challenges, and strategic direction for enhancing community safety in Newport within the first 9 months. The annual report should be read and considered as an update to the Safer Newport Strategic Needs Assessment and Strategy, and should be considered in relation to its effectiveness in updating progress against the plan. Within the report, the partnership would like to highlight key achievements, including the establishment of subgroups, implementation of community interventions, and enhanced stakeholder collaboration. Despite facing challenges, Safer Newport remains committed to its strategic priorities 2025 to 2029, focusing on long-term planning, inclusivity, and transparency. The report also includes feedback from partners emphasising the importance of collaboration, inclusivity, and transparency in addressing community safety issues. Data-driven insights from strategic needs assessments are presented, underscoring the importance of using reliable data to inform strategies and actions. In conclusion, the report reiterates Safer Newport's commitment to improving community safety through collaboration, data-driven strategies, and targeted interventions. It outlines the partnership's next steps and future plans for enhancing safety initiatives in public and private spaces, prioritising support for vulnerable groups, and promoting community involvement to build trust and accountability. I recommend that Cabinet approves this report for publication. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dan. Any comments or queries? Councillor Davis.
Thank you. It's really pleasing to know that the key priorities going forward are about enhancing community safety, supporting vulnerable groups, promoting collaboration, and importantly, utilising data effectively. It's a consistent next step in what is already being delivered. And what's important about this piece of work is the partnership working, and what cannot be underestimated is the impact that has in helping to ensure that residents are kept safe. Newport has a strong sense of community, and we're proud as a city of sanctuary to celebrate diversity and inclusivity. Collaborative work such as this helps sustain and support for all of us, and that is community cohesion, where we all feel safe and every individual is valued and supported when necessary. I'm proud to live in this city, and this city that is intolerant of racism and divisive behaviour.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. Any other comments? It's just a great report. You know, who doesn't want to Safer Newport, and just being more effective with our collaboration and data-driven strategies, which is really key to understand where the hot points are and issues before they become major issues is vital in making sure the city remains safe for all. Okay, I need an approver and a seconder. Councillor Lacey and Councillor Spencer. Okay, agenda item 7, affordable housing prospectus. This time it is Councillor Dan, but not because Jason's away.
For my sins. Thank you, Leader. The housing prospectus sets out the local authority's strategic priorities for delivering new grant-funded affordable housing. Prospectus will be used to ensure that new developments that benefit from grant funding meet housing need. The prospectus is evidence-based, developed in line with Welsh Government's guidance, drawing on a wide range of data to understand need and shape strategic priorities. The prospectus demonstrates how schemes will be prioritised for grant funding opportunities and provides information on the monitoring and governance processes. Also, Cabinet considers approving the draft housing prospectus report so it can be submitted to the Welsh Government for approval. Thank you.
Councillor Dow. Any comments or queries? No, it's part of the document we have to put out and get through to the Welsh Government. So thank you and all your staff for the hard work in getting it all pulled together. Councillor Dow. I have approval and a seconder. Councillor Davis and Councillor Lacey. Thank you. Agenda item 8, the anti-poverty strategy presented by Councillor Mark Spencer because Councillor Hughes is away. It's almost like Jason. It's almost like
The strategy and action plan supports Newport City Council, community groups and residents to focus on the priorities of actions needed to prevent people from getting into long-term poverty and destitution, provide those in poverty access to the services and support they need, enable people to access the pathways to recover and move out of poverty. The strategy and action plan outlines the visions and principles which will be adopted when attempting to address the impact poverty has on the lives of the people in Newport. The action plan includes the development of the No One Left Behind Fund, recently launched by the leader, allocating 500k budget to support the communities in Newport. Conclusion, I ask that this Cabinet consider adopting the strategy action plan, receive an annual update on progress to Council to note.
Thank you, Councillor Spencer. Any comments or queries? Councillor Davis.
Thank you. Newport's economic growth has yet to be shared equally. Areas such as film, mainly are rich in culture and community spirit, but also carry the weight of deprivation. Families face food insecurity on a daily basis. Children are growing up in poverty. Crime and antisocial behaviour easily take hold where opportunity has not yet arrived. Far too many, the postcode you're born in can still define the future, and that cannot continue. I know that schools are already taking the lead and being supported with the Welsh Government programme for government addressing poverty, and we're focusing that for our community schools, and they are at the heart of its strategy to tackle poverty and raise attainment. Since 2022, the Curriculum and Assessment Wales Act has empowered schools not only teach, but to embed themselves as community anchors, engaging families, health service and civic institutions to support every child. This is a commitment not only to academic achievement, but to social economic cohesion. Children will not learn unless there's food in their bellies and they come to school suitably dressed and have slept safely in warm and appropriate accommodation. This is a fact and is essentially the rationale that is the driver for change in many of our schools, particularly in areas such as Maiden, Gwrth-Dlodi, Galway and Ringman and various others across our city. As a local authority, we readily acknowledge the impact that poverty has on learning and have already set out our own strategy on tackling the impact of poverty in our schools, as it's recognised that currently in Wales, 6 children in every 20 lives in poverty, and this is a number that's clearly compounded in wards such as Kilway, where 2 specific areas are ranked in the top 10% as the most deprived areas in Wales. Child Poverty Strategy for Wales 2024 sets the direction for Welsh Government actions to tackle child poverty over the next decade or more, and to meet our ambitions for children and young people in Wales, no matter what their circumstances or background. A review of UK poverty research conducted by the Joseph Rowntree Foundation suggests in general there's a gap in educational attainment by parental income level, which continues throughout different stages of a child's education. Their report suggests a 27 percentage point attainment gap between pupils aged 16 eligible for free school meals and those not eligible in Wales. If we don't work to reduce this gap, we'll only see the cycle of poverty continue. Newport is already a city of sanctuary. Let's make it a city of opportunity for every child and every family in every corner. This is our challenge, but most important, with this strategy, it's our chance to make a difference.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. Very wise words indeed. Any other cabinet member? Councillor Lacey.
Just to follow on from Councillor Davis, it's so important that this is for future generations, and we're going to keep going in that perpetual cycle if we don't do something now. And it's about those children, but the disparity of poverty that is seen within neurodivergent families. So if you've got a child that comes to school that is autistic or ADHD, the likelihood is that the parents are also autistic or ADHD, or have some form of neurodivergence, and the likelihood is that they're going to be in poverty. Unfortunately, those stats still stand. So we need to look at tackling, getting in there, working with the family so that they can support themselves. People that I meet, in my ward, they don't want handouts, they want to help themselves. And I think this is what this strategy does. This isn't about delivering the food parcels or, giving some money where it's needed. This is about working with those partners, putting those tools in place so people can then go on and better themselves, better their families, and provide for their own what they want to do. And I think, the amount of partnership working that is going on within this strategy, I think that's something that we do really well in Newport, is that partnership working. And I think this is so important. And I think some previous to Councillor Harvey would always say, it's 2025, and it's some places in some wards and some houses you call on it Dickensian, and it shouldn't be that way. So I know that we all are, and the officers are working so hard to turn that around, which is what we do every day, and that's why we're here. So welcome this report.
Thank you, Councillor Lacey. Any other members? This for me is vital for many reasons, but it can't be the part of the same old. We have to have an anti-poverty strategy, almost a tick box exercise. I know you. So is it still supposed to call you new? I'm gonna call you new. Director is keen to make sure it's not, along with us, to make sure it's not a tick box exercise, setting out strict parameters and focused support. And that's why I was important for me to announce the 500k as well and make it cross-party. Because it's all well and good politicians saying we'll work together and we want to tackle this, and then offer no money and don't work together. That doesn't make any sense. So for me, it was important to announce money and work together with some of the opposition who also felt strongly on this agenda. And this money won't solve poverty in Newport, but it will be used to target those really adversely affected. As Councillor Davis rightly pointed out, there's great wealth in this city, but there's also great deprivation, and it is a grossly unequal city in many areas. And so it's not about bringing down the wealthy, it's about bringing up those areas which have been left behind, and hence we call it left behind funds. And so we focus funding to support those communities who haven't and will not at present benefit from the economic growth of this city. And so I welcome this strategy because it gives us a firm basis policy outline, an understanding of where we want to go and what we want to develop and what we want to work on. But also it's a live document, it's iterative. We'll learn as well what does and doesn't work. And so I really wholeheartedly welcome this strategy. Okay, I need an approver and a seconder. Well, Mike's going to give me a headlock. Approve. Proposer is Councillor Dan. Seconder is Councillor. Okay, moving on to agenda item 9, corporate safeguarding annual report. Councillor.
Thank you, Leader. I'm presenting the corporate safeguarding annual report, which covers the council's safeguarding responsibilities for both children and adults at risk here in Newport. The report reviews how well we're meeting those duties across all council services. Our corporate safeguarding policy makes it clear that safeguarding is everyone's responsibility, and this report shows how we monitor that and make sure that the right protections are in place to prevent harm, abuse and neglect. It also highlights the progress that we've made and the areas where we know we need to do more, particularly around improving how we measure performances and strengthen our data collection. That will help us benchmark effectively and continue improving. We want to be clear and open about how seriously we take safeguarding in Newport, and this report helps provide the assurance to the public, our staff, councillors, volunteers and everyone working on behalf of the council. The report includes data on staff training, safeguarding referrals, professional concerns, as well as governance and development and the improvements we've made over the last year. It gives a full picture of the corporate safeguarding work for the year 24-25. In conclusion, I'm going to ask Cabinet to agree the report and recommend that it's presented to full council for adoption. If I may just make one comment, which I'm pleased to see on the report, is our elected member increase in training. This time last year we were at 50%, which I think I said to myself and probably said to Councillor David, but she was sat next to me, that that's not good enough and that needs to improve. And actually this year, and thanks to the safeguarding team and the elected members who came along from the training, that's now gone up to 86.27%. So I'll be chasing the 2 people that haven't done that, and this time next year I'll be saying it'll be on 100. But you know, it's such an important area, and I know safeguarding referrals through the team have gone up. And I'm hoping, you know, I know a lot of elected members have come through me, and we go via that training helps. It gives you that. It's important. We all see things in our ward that, you know, prompt that and that, and I think we need to be trained on that to understand what our responsibilities were. So thank you. Pass for adoption, please.
Any comments or queries, Councillor? I would like to say, you know, the training is absolutely vital because it gives people the confidence to report things. People often feel like, should I report that? Should I not report that? Am I overstepping the mark? But safeguarding is all our responsibilities, and having that training to give us that confidence and awareness and understanding is vital, because you know we can all play even a small role in making our city safer, making children and other people, vulnerable adults, safe by noticing things and reporting things in. Thank you. Of course.
About reporting, should I or shouldn't I report? I think I'd like to let members know that we would rather you reported it and then didn't, you know, and the team will then say, well, you know, it doesn't. They would never turn around and say that's a stupid thing to say, because I think that's and people shouldn't be nervous about reporting it. I think I would want to make that call, unless it makes the team make that call. So that inbox is always there.
Better be safe than sorry.
Yeah,
absolutely. I need a proposer and a seconder, please. Councillor Dan and Councillor Davies. Right, agenda item 10, the placemaking plan. While Councillor James Clark is away, it's Councillor Emma Stahl.
Thank you, leader. Should I do a Cockney accent like James to make us all feel a bit better?
By all means, give it a go. You better be good though.
I think I'll leave it. I'm presenting the first placemaking plan in place of Councillor Clark today for the city centre to be developed and recommended for adoption by the council. The previous master plan for the city centre was adopted in 2018 and saw the delivery of key developments such as the indoor market and identified the potential for the Newport Knowledge Quarter. Alongside the delivery of the hugely popular revamped market, Charters Tower has been converted into a 4-star hotel and Market Arcade has undergone significant refurbishment. We have also delivered a rich and diverse calendar of events, including the Food Festival, an enhanced Christmas package and new events such as the Music Trail and the Festival of Words. As we know, these events are bringing a renewed vibrancy into the city and they sit alongside the regeneration beautifully. We're seeing significant rises in footfall, to evidence that more people are spending time in the city centre. And I know you've all heard me say this a million times, but I'll say it again. For example, the Music Trail added 13,000 extra people to the city centre across 2 days, which is quite the feat, really. However, there is, and there always will be, still work to be done. And a key part of the development, and I must acknowledge a key part of the development of the placemaking plan involved extensive engagement with our residents, stakeholders and partners. It was important to understand what was important to them and what they perceived to be the barriers to the city centre fulfilling its potential as a great place for people to visit, socialise, live, work and learn. A of local representatives from partner organisations met frequently to discuss the development of the plan, and there was also a cross-party working group set up to ensure cross-party support and ownership of this new 15-year plan for the city. And I'd like to thank everyone who was involved in that. What became clear from talking to people is that they want the city centre to be a place where people feel safe and a place where people want to spend time and a place that they're proud of. And this resulted in the identification of 8 objectives, wide-ranging objectives, ranging from improving the city's identity and perception to maximising the potential of the river and addressing safety and security concerns. As part of the engagement and consultation phase, respondents were asked about their views on 60 big ideas to address the objectives that have been identified. And the placemaking plan, which is contained within Appendix 1, contains the suggested short-term, medium-term and longer-term projects. Shorter-term projects include encouraging live music and street entertainment, happy hoardings to improve the appearance of the shop fronts, which are waiting for their next use, street lighting enhancements around the High Street area, and also a walking tube map. And we'll see some of these start to be delivered now in the coming weeks. Delivering the objectives, subject to approval from you guys, obviously. Delivering the objectives of the placemaking plan is not just a responsibility of the council, and we're asking all our partners and stakeholders to work with us and to use their relevant powers and resources to help make positive change. And I would say that it's critical that we all see and share the positives within the city centre and the wider city generally, and to start to reverse the negative narrative. Lots of what we see on social media is ill-informed, and I'd encourage people to take a look again for themselves. Funding for the short-term projects comes from the SPF, and Cabinet are being asked to add these projects to the capital programme. Funding for other projects will need to be determined, but prerequisite to accessing the Welsh Government's Transforming Towns Fund is that there has to be an adopted placemaking plan in place. The plan is a number of place-based plans and strategies that has been adopted recently, and it's important that we deliver these priorities and objectives identified, and that there is an appropriate monitoring and oversight. So proposed is the creation of a new place board, which would be co-chaired by Cabinet members responsible for culture and region, and would include representatives from relevant stakeholders and partners organisations, and the proposed terms of reference are in Appendix 2. Placemaking is an exciting opportunity to deliver some of our priority projects and to tackle issues that have been identified by our residents and stakeholders, and to work with partners on other aspects, including community safety, to ensure that the city centre becomes a vibrant space which meets the needs of all our users. Can I ask Cabinet receive and adopt the Newport placemaking plan, agree to the creation of the place board to monitor and oversee the delivery of the plan, and also that we add the identified short-term projects to the capital programme.
Thank you.
Thank you. I very much welcome the placemaking plan. I believe it's ambitious, realistic, and I'm really, really excited. I think the fundamental key of it in regards to placemaking plan is level consultation that's gone into ensure that actually reflects what residents want and what residents want to see in Newport. What we actually got from those conversations, actually how much people do love Newport. They see Newport as a gritty place to live, but there's an absolute love for what they want to live. They want to see that change and they want to embrace that change. And there's so much to offer in this plan, and I highly recommend any residents, they go online and look from page 229, and you'll see for yourselves exactly what's on offer, from the walking route map to all the interventions. It's all just laid out, history of life, branding, what's going to go on in Newport. It's all laid out there, so really easy to look at map. And it's absolutely amazing that all this is going to be happening in Newport, and there's a plan in place. It's brilliant. And also, thank you to the Cabinet members who've worked incredibly hard to make this happen as well, because I know this has taken a huge amount of work to bring together. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gibbs. Any other comments on the placement? I just like to say it's a huge amount of work, taking a lot of feedback, criticism, praise, hard work, blood, sweat and tears. And it is an ambitious project, but what I would say is this is only the start. This is the bedrock and holistic plan that shows an overview of where we're going to go, but we're going to announce more over the coming months, where we're going to take the city into the 21st century. There's a real longing for the past. That's because we haven't shown them what the future could be. And I take that as a real challenge and a spur for me and James and all of us to show where this city is going and will be in a few years ahead. And this is the start of setting out those plans. Okay, I need a proposer and a seconder. Placemaking plan. Councillor Dan and Councillor House, just to mix it up a bit. Okay, moving off to swiftly to agenda item 11, the work programme. Can I have someone to move as acceptance? Councillor Lacey. That concludes the meeting. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the sunshine while you can.